Kashiba, and welcome to a special little Halloween video. In this video, what I am going to do is I am going to Google Translate some scary stories. I've pulled up a couple of Reddit stories, and I'm also going to do my own little scary stories, which is what I'm probably going to start with to see how good this generator is. Pull up my little incognito window over here. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I am going to come up with some sort of horror story. We'll make it about Gojo. Gojo is walking into a dark forest when he meets up with a witch named Barbara. I don't know. Um. Oh my. Okay. So this is what it did. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the landscape, Satoru Gojo, it actually got his name, adjusted his blindfold before stepping into the dark forest. The trees loomed and tall and gnarled like ancient guardians, their branches twisting together to form a canopy that filtered the dying light. An eerie silence enveloped the air, broken only by the whispers of the wind weaving through the leaves. Gojo, with his characteristic nonchalance and playful demeanor, felt a curious thrill. Though the forest was shrouded in darkness, his cursed energy glimmered like a beacon illuminating his path as he walked deeper into the woods. He had heard rumors of a witch who dwelled here, a formidable sorceress named Barbara, who was as elusive as she was powerful. Intrigued by the tales of her mastery in the dark arts, he ventured forth, anticipating a unique encounter. Oh, this is too long. Um, I probably should. I might. Hang on. I'm gonna do short. I want it to be a horror. Uh, alright. I'm gonna have it rewrite that. I want to see if it turns. Okay. The forest loomed before Gojo, its gnarled trees twisting into grotesque shapes under the pale moonlight. A chill hung in the air, wrapping around him like a suffocating cloak. As he ventured deeper into the darkness, each step seemed to whisper echoes of warning, but curiosity propelled him forward. Suddenly, a cackle erupted from the shadows, causing Gojo to freeze in place. A figure emerged, cloaked in tattered rags that fluttered like moths in the night breeze. Her hair, a wild nest of raven black tangles, framed a face that was both alluring and terrifying. The witch, Barbara, extended a bony finger adorned with rings that glimmered with an unnatural light. Lost, are we? She hissed, her voice a haunting melody that sent shivers down his spine. I was just exploring. Gojo stammered, acutely, aware of the trees leaning in closer, their branches like skeletal fingers. A keen explorer, she mused, eyes glinting with mischief. But this forest holds more than mere shadows. It hangs heavy with secrets. Secrets that might just wish to swallow you whole. Intrigued yet terrified, Gojo took a step back. What do you know of secrets? Barbara leaned closer, her breath smelling of decay. Would you trade a secret for a secret? I can reveal the hidden truth that pulls at your heart. But in return, you must share your own. His curiosity became a noose, tightening around his throat as darkness thickened around him. What lay buried in his heart? He hesitated, torn between the unsettling offer and the truth he feared. The witch smiled, her sharp teeth glinting, and in that moment Gojo realized some secrets are better left undiscovered. I guess that's not bad. But we're going to Google Translate this lovely little piece. Alright, I translated it. So this is the translated version. The forest stood before Gojo, its gnarled trees twisted into strange shapes in the moonlight. There was a chill in the air as he walked into the darkness wrapped in a suffocating cloak. Each step seemed to carry a warning, but curiosity kept him moving forward. Suddenly, laughter came from the shadows, and Gojo froze. The man in tattered clothes floated like a moth in the night wind. He was dressed in black, and his tousled hair framed a face that was both beautiful and terrifying. Barbara the witch stretched out a bony finger with a ring on it that shone with an otherworldly light. Are you lost? She said, the eerie melody sent shivers down your spine. I'm just exploring, Gojo stammered. The trees were getting closer, and I was familiar with the bony fingers on the branches. An enthusiastic explorer, he thought, with a mischievous gleam in his eyes. But this forest is more than just shadows. It's filled with secrets, secrets that threaten to consume you. Gojo stepped back, curious and scared. How well do you know secrets? Barbara stepped closer, her breath stinking. Will you trade one secret for another? I can reveal the hidden truth that haunts you, but in exchange you must reveal the truth about yourself. His curiosity came from his nose, where the darkness enveloped him, tightening around his neck. What is buried in your heart? He hesitated, torn between the difficult offer and truth he feared. The old woman smiled and clenched her sharp teeth. At that moment, Gojo realized some secrets are better left unsaid. Okay, that one wasn't that interesting, so let's do another, I suppose. Alright, so I decided to have it write me a story about Jack Skellington traveling to the anime world and digging up corpses. And here is what it gave me. In the dim light of a crescent moon, Jack Skellington stood at the edge of Halloween Town, a curious glint in his hollow eyes. He had discovered a rift between worlds, a shimmering portal that whispered promises of adventures yet unseen. With a confident stride, he stepped through, leaving behind the familiar chill of his beloved town. On the other side, the vibrant landscape of the anime world unfolded before him, lush forests and colorful cities teeming with light, but something felt off. Lurking beneath the surface was an unsettling blend of whimsy and terror, a realm both enchanting and dreadful. Legend spoke of the forsaken graveyard where the tales of lost heroes and forgotten battles lay buried in forgotten soil. Driven by an eerie curiosity, Jack made his way to the graveyard. Shadows danced playfully among the tombstones as he approached, beckoning him closer. Gravediggers here had a penchant for the dramatic, and Jack found himself enchanted by the intricate designs etched into the headstones. But it was the urge to dig deeper that consumed him. As he unearthing the corpse, Layers of dust clung to his skeletal fingers. Each one told a story, some of valor and others of despair. Yet there was an unsettling presence in the air. The eyes of the dead glimmered briefly before, transmuting into hollow voids, whispering secrets of unfinished lives. Jack felt the weight of their sorrow as if he were unearthing not merely bones, but the very essence of lost souls. Suddenly, a chill swept through the graveyard, and the ground shook violently. The spirits awakened, wailing with rage, rising from their shallow graves to surround Jack. He realized too late that in this world the dead were not merely to be disturbed, they were to be feared. In that moment of terror, Jack understood that some adventures were better left unexplored. As the wails enveloped him, he turned to flee, racing back to the portal, desperate to escape the grasp of the vengeful dead. The anime world, with its vibrant colors, would remain forever etched in his mind, a vivid nightmare that would haunt him long after he returned to the safety of Halloween Town, where spooks and frights were but a playful game. That actually was a better story than the one with Gojo and the witch Barbara. But yeah, let's translate this one. All right, and here is the translated version. Um in the light of the new moon, Jack Skellington stood before Halloween Town, his eyes empty and curious. Discover the gap between two worlds, revealing a luminous portal that promises adventures yet untold. He took a confident step, leaving behind the familiar cold of his beloved city. At the same time, the anime universe appears before him. Despite the dense forest and colorful cities, something seems to stand out. Underground is a world of fantasy and horror, a world of fear and terror. Ancient history tells of abandoned cemeteries, stories of lost heroes, forgotten warriors buried in forgotten lands. They definitely mistranslated that part. Out of curiosity, Jack goes to the cemetery. As he approaches, shadows dance between the graves, inviting him to come closer. Gravediggers loved to play here, and Jack was fascinated by the engravings on the tombstones. But what intrigued him most was the need to dig deeper. As he dug up the body, dust clung to his bony fingers. Everybody tells a story, part heroic, part heroic. Okay. But there was an eerie smell in the air. The dead man's eyes flashed briefly and then went completely blank, whispering the secret of an unfinished life. Jack felt a deep pain, as if they were not just bones but the inside of a lost soul. Suddenly, a chill spread throughout the cemetery and the ground became very icy. Okay. The spirits rose, howling furiously, emerging from their shallow graves and surrounding Jack. He finally realized that in this world the dead were not a problem. Okay. Not a problem? Okay. In that moment of terror, Jack realized that some events had gone unnoticed. Hearing screams around him, he turned and fled, hoping to escape through the portal to escape the undead. That's broken English. The colorful world of anime will remain etched in your heart forever. A nightmare haunts him after he returns safely to Halloween Town, a place full of ghosts and scary creatures. That was way off, but okay. I want to do one more AI written story, and then I'm gonna do the creepy pasta that I found. Alright, so this is the last one I'm gonna do. Um, I wanted them to write a story about the Hidden Leaf Village getting hit by a zombie apocalypse, and the Akatsuki are the heroes. And I kind of read ahead on this one. I didn't finish it, but oh my god, this one is a great one. In a shadowed corner of the Hidden Leaf village, the air was thick with an unnatural hush. Once vibrant streets echoed with the distant groans of an encroaching horde. The dead were rising, driven by an insatiable hunger, turning familiar faces into grotesque shadows of their former selves. Panic spread like wildfire, and hope flickered like a dying candle as survivors barricaded themselves behind crumbling walls. Amidst the chaos, the reputation of the Akatsuki stirred. No longer the villains of their own tale, they arrived like storm clouds on the horizon. Pain, with his piercing gaze, stood before the trembling villagers. "We are not here to conquer," he declared, his voice a cold whisper that cut through the terror. "We are here to protect." The Akatsuki unleashed their unique powers, turning the tide against the undead. Deidara's explosive clay avatars lit the night sky, raining death upon the shambling fiends. Sasori commanded his puppets with the grace of a maestro. Interesting. Dispatching the afflicted with flawless precision. It was a chaotic ballet, and soon the cobblestones ran slick with the vile ichor of the undead. Very sophisticated for sorcery. Okay. In the heart of the village, Hinata and Naruto's spirits hung in the balance. The duo had fought valiantly but were trapped, surrounded by zombies, and reached with a skeletal hands. But even against the onslaught, hope blossomed as Itachi appeared, his Sharingan ablaze. With a single Uchiha flick of his wrist. What is this? Harry Potter meets Naruto? With a single flick of the Uchiha wrist. I'm sorry. He unleashed a genjutsu, disorienting the horde and giving his comrades a chance to escape. Fighting side by side, the Akatsuki led the villagers away from the decaying nightmare. As dawn broke over the Hidden Leaf, the village stood defiant. The undead were vanquished, and the Akatsuki, once feared, were now the heroes that the village never expected. In the aftermath, whispers of their sacrifice lingered, forever etched into the fabric of a new legend. Single Uchiha flick. It's what? This is supposed to be scary. Single flick of the Uchiha wrist. Oh, I can't wait to see this translated. Alright, here's the translated version of this. Can't wait to see the whole Uchiha wrist flick in this. In a dark corner of Leaf Village, an eerie silence hung in the air. The distant cries of the invading army echoed through the often crowded streets. The dead, consumed by insatiable hunger, have turned their familiar faces into grim shadows. Panic spread like wildfire, and hope flickered like a dying candle as survivors huddled behind crumbling walls. Amid the turmoil, Akatsuki's reputation faltered. They are no longer their own stories. Hovering like storm clouds on the horizon. Sorrow. Not pain. Sorrow. Sorrow looked at the trembling villagers with piercing eyes. "We are not here to win." His voice was a cold whisper that pierced the panic. "We are here to protect." Akatsuki has unleashed a special power to turn the tide against the dead. The explosives from Deidara's clay figurine lit up the night sky, raining death down on the besieged demons. With his master's grace, Sorcery took control of the puppet and eliminated the patient with perfect precision. It was a chaotic ballet, and soon the cobblestones were covered with hideous undead corpses. The souls of Hinata and Naruto were balanced in the center of the village. Yet, despite the attack, hope sprouted when Itachi appeared and his Sharingan lit up. A touch to the Uchiha's wrist activates a Genjutsu that throws the group into chaos and gives his allies a chance to escape. The Akatsuki fought together to free the townspeople from the horrific nightmare. As night fell behind what? As night fell behind Konohagakure, the village remained defiant, the undead were defeated, and the Akatsuki members they once feared are now the heroes of the village they never expected. After that, rumors about his sacrifice were forever recorded as the basis for new legends. I thought the original was actually funner. The flick of the Uchiha wrist. But a touch to the Uchiha's wrist. Okay. Sure. Now, what I want to do is I want to read this creepypasta because it's a good one. And I want to translate this. This is going to be the last one. So this is the story of a man by the name of Liam Barbell. Liam was an enthusiastic fellow. He liked the explore and was also an intellectual on animals, specifically African animals, because he was employed at a company that specializes in researching animals across the globe. His station is full of an estimated 175 other fellow employees. We're in the country of Zambia, Africa. Liam was the most professional at the station and went to research the most. But one day that would all change when Liam went on a tourist ride in the Kafui Flats. Don't know if I pronounced that right. He jumped out of the open-windowed bus that he was on. He got some bruises and open wound scratches, but Liam brushed it off. Liam then grabbed his binoculars and started the search for possibly new species. Then what caught his eyes was a few vultures eating a zebra. That was natural for vultures, so he didn't think too much about it. But his open wound scratch started to bleed, and since vultures can smell up to 12 miles away, the vultures quickly caught on. They started swarming above him, 3, then 4, then 5, and eventually 12. One started flying towards him and started picking and nibbling his scratch. It assumingly hurt like hell. Liam screamed, but the bus was already too far. More vultures came down and started eating his legs. Liam fell down, and then more vultures came to eat his arms. His arms and legs starting to become skeletal. His torso also starting to be eaten. Liam had a few extra ribs because of him almost having his lungs slip out of place. The vultures could not get into his internal organs, but ate all the flesh they could get his brain. All they could get his brain also could not be eaten for God knows, but the vultures left some pieces of flesh. Flesh patches everywhere, his eyes still on him, some flesh patches on his skull, some hair here and there. But as the last two vultures were eating, Liam grasped a vulture by the neck for revenge. He ripped its head off and dissected the head, leaving only a vulture mask. Liam put on the vulture head as a mask and still crippling stood up and started his revenge seeking. He started to sneak attack safari animals everywhere, lions, zebras, gazelles, and even the vultures themselves. The safari soon became a wasteland of no animals and a gory, fleshy, gooey, vulture-like skeleton roam in the safari in seek of new animals or even humans. Yeah. Wonder how this is gonna do translated. Alright, this is the story translated. This is the story of a man named Liam Barbell. Liam was a passionate person. He loved to explore and was very knowledgeable about animals. I work for a company that specializes in animal research around the world, so I am particularly interested in African animals. Their base has 175 other employees and is said to be based in the African state of Zambia. Liam was the most professional person in the department and the one who did the most research. One day, everything changed. While looking at Kafui Flats, Liam jumped out of the window of the bus he was traveling on, leaving him with bruises, cuts, and scratches, but he survived. Then he took out his binoculars and started looking for a possible new species. Then he noticed the eagles, not the vultures, the eagles, were eating the zebras. But he didn't care because normally it was an eagle. Makes sense, okay. But his open wounds and scratches start bleeding, and the vultures quickly notice him. Oh, I guess the vultures are back, okay. And started attacking him because they can smell him from 30 kilometers away. It was 3 o'clock, then 4 o'clock, then 5 o'clock, and finally noon. I guess the number of vultures turned into the time. One of them flew towards him, and he started nibbling, and he screamed like crazy. Liam screamed that he might be hurt, but the bus was already too far away. More vultures came down and started eating his bones. When Liam collapsed, more vultures came and ate his arms. My arms and legs became bony, and my upper body was also gnawed. Liam's lungs almost moved, leaving him with a few extra ribs. The eagle couldn't reach his belly, but he ate all the meat he could. And lo and behold, his brain wasn't eaten, but the eagle left a few pieces of meat. So I guess both eagles and vultures are eating him? There were flesh spots everywhere. His eyes were still staring at him, and there were a few flesh spots on his head and ribs here and there. But the last 2 eagles eat while he eats. Liam shoots one of the eagles in revenge. I grabbed him by the neck. He removed and cut off the head, leaving only the eagle mask. Liam put the eagle mask on his head and stood up. Still paralyzed, he began a campaign of revenge. He began attacking safari animals everywhere, including lions, zebras, gazelles, and even eagles. The safari quickly became an animal-free wasteland, with bloody, fleshy, slimy skeletons resembling vultures roaming the safari looking for new animals, or worse, looking for someone. Okay, yeah, cool. Also, thank you at, a random, guy 00 for the, Reddit. It was an enjoyable read, but anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos or Google Translates. Also, follow me on Twitter at Kashiba Gamer Girl and on TikTok at Kashiba-chan. And don't be afraid to follow my other TikTok channel at Straw Cat Crew. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.